All right, let's talk about the Ohio State Buckeyes here for a little bit. Look, we've mentioned a lot about Ohio State recently, how for being one of the best programs in college football, not just historically, but in recent times as well, how they've kind of fallen a little bit under the radar. They aren't getting the notice that some other programs that aren't performing as good either on the field or in recruiting, they're not getting the same attention as those guys. But credit the Buckeyes, credit Ryan Day. They keep getting more and more good news in the recruiting ranks. Let's first start with this tweet, this report from the great Hayes Fawcett. Wonderful follow on Twitter. Highly recommend him. He says Ohio State quarterback commit Tavian St. Clair is now a 5-star recruit on every website. So he's officially consensus 5-star prospect. He becomes one of 9 recruits in the 2025 class to be named a 5-star plus recruit. The Buckeyes are the only school with multiple 5-star plus recruits committed. Guess what? They've got 3 of those guys. So again, Ohio State isn't just doing well in recruiting. They aren't just doing exceptionally well in recruiting. They're literally lapping the entire field in terms of recruiting. And there's a lot of people starting to notice the collective aggregation of Ohio State's recruiting is really separating themselves from the pack. Let's pull up the second report. This is courtesy of 24/7 Sports. This is a report highlighting Ohio State's rankings in terms of recruiting. The report says, I've got Ohio State right now as the number 3 program in the country in the coming 3 seasons, right? And again, you're dealing with those programs like Georgia, right? Obviously, they're the consensus number 1 until someone can knock them off. I love their positioning because everything is elite up there. The resource pool is elite. They spare no expense, whether it's going to be an acquiring talent, whether it's going to be active in the portal when they need to be. Certainly, their recruiting is an elite tier. Their staff, I would say, is at an elite tier. Facilities, all that stuff. They've got all those boxes checked. And here's the thing, they're as hungry as any program in America. Again, I think that last sentence speaks volumes to the fact that Ohio State, they're kind of not getting the attention. Everyone's kind of focusing on other programs, but they're crushing it in recruiting. They're not getting the notice that they probably should. And right now, they're hungry, they're motivated. You see it in the coaching staff this offseason, and I think it will end up having really great long-term results for this Ohio State program. Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on these reports. But first, Buckeyes fans, in the comment section below, obviously, it's been kind of an up and down offseason for Ohio State, especially the way your bitter rival ended the season winning the national title. But based how things have gone up to this point, how would you grade this offseason for the Ohio State Buckeyes? Do you think they've done a great job? Give them an A plus. Are you a little disappointed? Maybe it's a C. Whatever it is, give us your grade of the Ohio State Buckeyes offseason up to this point, especially with this latest news, and put it in the comment section below. But Mines, give me your thoughts on everything Ohio State right now.
Yeah, Nick, I think this is big for Ohio State, and I think my point is really backed up by the tweet from Hayes Fawcett about the elevation of this player from a 4-star to a 5-star recruit. Because the point is, Ohio State is looking like a team that has been building momentum, and now we start to see those results. The last 5 years or so, they have been on an absolute tear in the recruiting game. They've been building something special, and now we're going to start to see the fruits of that labor there. You look at what Ohio State has in 2024. They have 17 guys who are 4th or 5th year seniors. There's 17 guys on this roster who have a lot of experience, but potentially are looking to go elsewhere in this coming season. But still, Ohio State is ranked as the top 3 program in the country for the next 3 seasons. That has to do with the elite level of recruiting they have done over the past 5 years. They've had a top 5 recruiting class in each of the last 5 cycles and have had the top ranked class in 2025 in the entire country as of the recording of this video. So Ohio State is on the ball. Ohio State has been building for the future for the last 5 years. You look at the last few seasons, they haven't accomplished what they set out to do, but what they set out to do is win a national championship. Only one team a year gets to do that. But they've been really dang good the last few years. They've been elite, they've been contenders there. But now I think we're going to start to see the cycle in of all of these top recruiting classes. I think Ohio State is just going to keep getting better and better and better. And as we see all these other top tier teams, they're a little shakier. Michigan, Sherrone Moore, we don't know what he's going to do. Alabama, Kellen DeBoer, we don't know exactly what is going to happen. Georgia's lost a lot of guys. I think that there's a shakeup in the top end of this college football world. And I think a team like Ohio State with the consistent work they've been doing over the last seasons, just shows they are ready to step up to the challenge and potentially take over the helm as the best team in college football.
And there are cycles to this. And just one quick correction with the second report there. That was according to Josh Pate, who is the very well-known podcaster and college football reporter. He had Ohio State right behind Georgia and Alabama. Georgia 1, Alabama 2 in terms of the top programs right now as things currently sit. Great sign, of course, for Ohio State because everyone's got kind of that little SEC mentality because they're so darn consistent, so darn good that Ohio State is basically the best program in the country, not in the SEC right now, which of course is, I think, accurate, but also a great sign for the Buckeyes. But it's important to understand that dynasties, and obviously Ohio State's in sort of a 50-year run as a dynasty, right? They're one of these programs that, like Alabama, right? They're always in a run for a national title decade after decade after decade. There are going to be little mini dips where you're winning titles and then things kind of dip a little bit. You have a couple 2-loss seasons, things like that. And then there's usually a recalibration and you go back to winning championships again. The same thing happened at Alabama. Alabama in 2013, I think a lot of people remember this, they lost back-to-back Sugar Bowls, right? And at that point, a lot of people wondered, listen, have we seen peak Alabama Crimson Tide? Is this the best they're going to be? Alabama then went on to win titles of 2 of the next 4 seasons, and they lost in the college football national championship game those other 2 seasons. So they were basically the second best team in the country or the best team in the country the following 4 seasons because they, like Ohio State, when they had that dipped, they turned on the recruiting guns. They elevated their recruiting and transfer portal game. Of course, at that point, the transfer portal really hadn't come into focus, but they did everything they could to re-elevate their talent pool like Ohio State is doing now. And then suddenly, bam, they were back winning national titles. That's exactly what the dynasty programs do. That's what Alabama did. That's what Ohio State has been doing this offseason. Now, the results, it may take another year to get there, to be totally honest. I still think they'll be great this year, but I think we're going to start seeing the results of this great recruiting in 2025, 2026, and we're going to see Ohio State. They're going to run the table again, undefeated, going to the college football playoff, even the extended playoff, going to the Final Four national championship game. There is no reason to think they won't return to that level just because they've been so darn good in their recruiting, not just as good as the best programs, but as we noted here, 3 5-star plus guys, most in the country so far. They're beating and lapping the competition in that department.